Macedonia, officially the Republic of Macedonia, tr. Republika Makedonija, is a country in the Balkan peninsula in Southeast Europe. It is one of the successor states of the former Yugoslavia, from which it declared independence in 1991. It became a member of the United Nations in 1993, but, as a result of an ongoing dispute with Greece over the use of the name Macedonia, was admitted under the provisional description the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, a term that is also used by international organizations such as the European Union, the Council of Europe and NATO. A landlocked country, the Republic of Macedonia is bordered by Kosovo to the northwest, Serbia to the north, Bulgaria to the east, Greece to the south, and Albania to the west. It constitutes approximately the northwestern third of the larger geographical region of Macedonia, which also comprises the neighboring parts of northern Greece and smaller portions of southwestern Bulgaria and southeastern Albania. The country's capital is Skopje, with 506,926 inhabitants according to the 2002 census. Other cities include Bitola, Kumanovo, Prilep, Tetovo, Orad, Veles, Stip, Kokani, Gostivar, Kavadachi, and Strumica. It has over 50 lakes, and 16 mountains higher than 2,000 meters. Macedonia is a member of the UN and of the Council of Europe. Since 2005 it has also been a candidate for joining the European Union and has applied for NATO membership. Etymology: the country's name derives from the Greek mu alpha kappa epsilon delta omicron nu iota alpha, a kingdom named after the ancient Macedonians. The name mu alpha kappa epsilon delta omicron nu epsilon sigma derives ultimately from the ancient Greek adjective mu alpha kappa epsilon delta nu omicron sigma, meaning tall, taper, which shares the same root as the adjective mu alpha kappa rho omicron sigma, meaning long, tall, high, in ancient Greek. The name is originally believed to have meant either highlanders or the tall ones, possibly descriptive of the people. However, according to modern research by Robert S. P. Beeks, both terms are of pre-Greek substrate origin and cannot be explained in terms of Indo-European morphology. History: ancient and Roman period. The Republic of Macedonia roughly corresponds to the ancient Kingdom of Paeonia, which was located immediately north of the ancient Kingdom of Macedonia. Paeonia was inhabited by the Paeonians, a Thracian people, whilst the northwest was inhabited by the Dardani and the southwest by tribes known historically as the Enchili, Pelagones and Lyncestae. The latter two are generally regarded as Molosian tribes of the northwestern Greek group, whilst the former two are considered Illyrian. In the late 6th century BC, the Achaemenid Persians under Darius the Great conquered the Paeonians, incorporating what is today the Republic of Macedonia within the vast territories. Following the loss in the Second Persian invasion of Greece in 479 BC, the Persians eventually withdrew from their European territories, including thus from what is today the Republic of Macedonia. In 356 BC, Philip II of Macedon absorbed the regions of Upper Macedonia and the southern part of Paeonia into the Kingdom of Macedon. Philip's son Alexander the Great conquered the remainder of the region and incorporated it in his empire, reaching as far north as SKopp, but the city and the surrounding area remained part of Dardania. The Romans established the province of Macedonia in 146 BC. By the time of Diocletian, the province had been subdivided between Macedonia Prima on the south, encompassing most of the Kingdom of Macedon, and Macedonia Salutaris on the north, encompassing partially Dardania and the whole of Paeonia. Most of the country's modern boundaries fell within the latter. with the city of Stobi as its capital. Roman expansion brought the SKopp area under Roman rule in the time of Domitian, and it fell within the province of Moesia, whilst Greek remained the dominant language in the eastern part of the Roman Empire. Latin spread to some extent in Macedonia. Medieval and Ottoman period Slavic peoples settled in the Balkan region, including Macedonia, by the late 6th century AD. During the 580s, Byzantine literature attests to the Slavs raiding Byzantine territories in the region of Macedonia, later aided by Bulgars. Historical records document that in c. 680 a group of Bulgars, Slavs and Byzantines led by a Bulgar called Kuba settled in the region of the Karamessian plain, centered on the city of Bitola. Trajan's reign apparently coincides with the extension of Bulgarian control over the Slavic tribes in and around Macedonia. The Slavic peoples that settled in the region of Macedonia converted to Christianity around the 9th century during the reign of Tsar Boris I of Bulgaria. In 1014, the Byzantine Emperor Basil II defeated the armies of Tsar Samuil of Bulgaria, and within 4 years the Byzantines restored control over the Balkans for the first time since the 7th century. However, by the late 12th century, Byzantine decline saw the region contested by various political entities, including a brief Norman occupation in the 1080s. In the early 13th century, a revived Bulgarian Empire gained control of the region. Plagued by political difficulties, the empire did not last, and the region came once again under Byzantine control in the early 14th century. In the 14th century, it became part of the Serbian Empire, who saw themselves as liberators of the Slavic kin from Byzantine despotism. SKopp became the capital of Tsar Stefan Dušan's empire. Following Dušan's death, a weak successor appeared, and power struggles between nobles divided the Balkans once again. These events coincided with the entry of the Ottoman Turks into Europe. The Kingdom of Prilep was one of the short-lived states that emerged from the collapse of the Serbian Empire in the 14th century. Gradually, all of the Central Balkans were conquered by the Ottoman Empire and remained under its domination for 5 centuries. Macedonian nationalism. With the beginning of the Bulgarian national revival in the 18th century, many of the reformers were from this region, including the Miladinov brothers, Rajka Zinzafov, Joachim Kovsky, Kirapaj and others. The bishoprics of Skopje, Dubai, Bitola, Ohrid, Vils and Struma converted to join the Bulgarian Exarchate after it was established in 1870. Several movements whose goals were the establishment of an autonomous Macedonia, which would encompass the entire region of Macedonia, began to arise in the late 19th century. The earliest of these was the Macedonian Revolutionary Organization, later becoming secret Macedonian Adrianople Revolutionary Organization. In 1905 it was renamed the Internal Macedonian Adrianople Revolutionary Organization, and after World War I the organization separated into the Internal Macedonian Revolutionary Organization and the Internal Thracian Revolutionary Organization. In the early years of the organization, membership was open only to Bulgarians, but later it was open to all inhabitants of European Turkey, regardless of their nationality or religion. The majority of its members, however, were Macedonian Bulgarians. In 1903, IMRO organized the Ilindan Preobrazhenie uprising against the Ottomans, which after some initial successes, including the forming of the Kosovo Republic, was crushed with much loss of life. The uprising and the forming of the Kosovo Republic are considered the cornerstone and precursors to the eventual establishment of the Macedonian Macedonian state kingdoms of Serbia and Yugoslavia following the two Balkan Wars of 1912 and 1913 and the dissolution of the Ottoman Empire. Most of its European-held territories were divided between Greece, Bulgaria and Serbia. The territory of the modern Macedonian state was annexed by Serbia and named Jusna Srbija, southern Serbia. Following the partition, an anti-Bulgarian campaign was carried out in the areas under Serbian and Greek control. As many as 641 Bulgarian schools and 761 churches were closed by the Serbs, while exarchist clergy and teachers were expelled. The use of Bulgarian was prescribed. In the fall of 1915, Bulgaria joined the Central Powers in the First World War and gained control over most of the territory of the present-day Republic of Macedonia. After the end of the First World War, the area returned to Serbian control as part of the newly formed Kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes, and saw a reintroduction of the anti-Bulgarian measures of the first occupation. Bulgarian teachers and clergy were expelled, Bulgarian language, signs and books removed, and all Bulgarian organizations dissolved. The Serbian government pursued a policy of forced Serbianization in the region, which included systematic repression of Bulgarian activists, altering family surnames, internal colonization, forced labor, and intense propaganda. To aid the implementation of this policy, some 50,000 Serbian army and gendarmerie were stationed in Macedonia. By 1940, about 280 Serbian colonies were established as part of the government's internal colonization program. In 1929, the kingdom was officially renamed the Kingdom of Yugoslavia and divided into provinces called Banovinas. Southern Serbia, including all of what is now the Republic of Macedonia, became known as the Vada Banovina of the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. The concept of a united Macedonia was used by the Internal Macedonian Revolutionary Organization in the interbellum. Its leaders, including Todor Alexandrov, Alexander Protojarov, and Ivan Mihailov, promoted independence of the Macedonian territory split between Serbia and Greece for the whole population, regardless of religion and ethnicity. The Bulgarian government of Alexander Malinov in 1918 offered to give Pirene Macedonia for that purpose after World War I, but the great powers did not adopt this idea because Serbia and Greece opposed it. In 1924, the Communist International suggested that all Balkan communist parties adopt a platform of a united Macedonia, but the suggestion was rejected by the Bulgarian and Greek communists. IMRO followed by starting an insurgent war in Vada Banovina, together with Macedonian Youth Secret Revolutionary Organization, which also conducted guerrilla attacks against the Serbian administrative and army officials there. In 1923, in Stipa, a paramilitary organization called Association Against Bulgarian Bandits was formed by Serbian Chetniks, IMRO renegades and Macedonian Federative Organization members to oppose IMRO and MMTRO. The Macedonist ideas increased during the interbellum, in Yugoslav Vada Macedonia and among the left diaspora in Bulgaria, and were supported by the Comintern. In 1934 it issued a special resolution in which for the first time directions were provided for recognizing the existence of a separate Macedonian nation and Macedonian language. World War II period. During World War II, Yugoslavia was occupied by the Axis powers from 1941 to 1945. The Vada Banovina was divided between Bulgaria and Italian-occupied Albania. Bulgarian action committees were established to prepare the region for the new Bulgarian administration and army. The committees were mostly formed by former members of IMRO, but some communists such as Panko Brashnarov, Strahilgigov and Metodij Shatorov also participated. As leader of the Varda Macedonia communists, Shatorov switched from the Yugoslav Communist Party to the Bulgarian Communist Party and refused to start military action against the Bulgarian army. The Bulgarian authorities, under German pressure, were responsible for the roundup and deportation of over 7,000 Jews in Skopje and Bitola. Harsh rule by the occupying forces encouraged many Macedonians to support the communist partisan resistance movement of Josip Broz Tito after 1943, and the National Liberation War ensued, with German forces being driven out of Macedonia by the end of 1944. In Varda Macedonia, after the Bulgarian coup d'etat of 1944, the Bulgarian troops, surrounded by German forces, fought their way back to the old borders of Bulgaria. Under the leadership of the new Bulgarian pro-Soviet government, 4 armies, 455,000 strong in total, were mobilized and reorganized. Most of them re-entered occupied Yugoslavia in early October 1944 and moved from Sofia to Nis, Skopje and Pristina with the strategic task of blocking the German forces withdrawing from Greece, compelled by the Soviet Union with a view towards the creation of a large South Slav federation. The Bulgarian government once again offered to give Pirene Macedonia to such a united Macedonia in 1945. Socialist Yugoslavia period. In 1944, the Anti-Fascist Assembly for the National Liberation of Macedonia proclaimed the People's Republic of Macedonia as part of the People's Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. SKopp remained an acting government until the end of the war. The Macedonian alphabet was codified by linguists of SKopp, who based their alphabet on the phonetic alphabet of Vuk Stefanović Karadzic and the principles of Krsde Petkovmisiakov. The new republic became one of the 6 republics of the Yugoslav Federation, following the federation's renaming as the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia in 1963. The People's Republic of Macedonia was likewise renamed, becoming the Socialist Republic of Macedonia. During the civil war in Greece, Macedonian communist insurgents supported the Greek communists. Many refugees fled to the Socialist Republic of Macedonia from there. The state dropped the "socialist" from its name in 1991 when it peacefully seceded from Yugoslavia. Declaration of Independence. The country officially celebrates the 8th of September 1991 as Independence Day, with regard to the referendum endorsing independence from Yugoslavia, albeit legalizing participation in future union of the former states of Yugoslavia. The anniversary of the start of the Ilinden Uprising on the 2nd of August is also widely celebrated on an official level as the Day of the Republic. Robert Badinter, as the head of the Arbitration Commission of the Peace Conference on Yugoslavia, recommended EC recognition in January 1992. Macedonia remained at peace through the Yugoslav wars of the early 1990s. A few very minor changes to its border with Yugoslavia were agreed upon to resolve problems with the demarcation line between the two countries. However, it was seriously destabilized by the Kosovo War in 1999, when an estimated 360,000 ethnic Albanian refugees from Kosovo took refuge in the country. Although they departed shortly after the war, Albanian nationalists on both sides of the border took up arms soon after in pursuit of autonomy or independence for the Albanian populated areas of Macedonia. Albanian insurgency. A conflict took place between the government and ethnic Albanian insurgents, mostly in the north and west of the country, between February and August 2001. The war ended with the intervention of a NATO ceasefire monitoring force. Under the terms of the Ohrid Agreement, the government agreed to devolve greater political power and cultural recognition to the Albanian minority. The Albanian side agreed to abandon separatist demands and to recognize all Macedonian institutions fully. In addition, according to this accord, the NLA were to disarm and hand over the weapons to a NATO force. Geography. Macedonia has a total area of 25,713 square kilometers. It lies between latitudes 40 degrees and 43 degrees north, and mostly between longitudes 20 degrees and 23 degrees east. Macedonia has some 748 kilometers of boundaries, shared with Serbia to the north, Kosovo to the northwest, Bulgaria to the east, Greece to the south, and Albania to the west. It is a transit way for shipment of goods from Greece through the Balkans, towards Eastern, Western and Central Europe and through Bulgaria to the east. It is part of a larger region also known as Macedonia, which also includes Macedonia and the Blagoevgrad province in southwestern Bulgaria. Topography. Macedonia is a landlocked country that is geographically clearly defined by a central valley formed by the Vardar River and framed along its borders by mountain ranges. The terrain is mostly rugged, located between the Sar Mountains and Osogovo, which frame the valley of the Vardar River. Three large lakes, Lake Ohrid, Lake Prespa and Dojran Lake, lie on the southern borders, bisected by the frontiers with Albania and Greece. Ohrid is considered to be one of the oldest lakes and biotopes in the world. The region is seismically active and has been the site of destructive earthquakes in the past. Most recently in 1963, when Skopje was heavily damaged by a major earthquake, killing over 1,000. Macedonia also has scenic mountains. They belong to two different mountain ranges. The first is the Sar Mountains that continues to the west Vardar Pelagonia group of mountains, also known as the Dinaric Range. The second range is the Osogovo-Belasac mountain chain, also known as the Rodopi Range. The mountains belonging to the Sar Mountains and the west Vardar Pelagonia range are younger and higher than the older mountains of the Osogovo-Belasac mountain group. Mount Kor above the Sar Mountains on the Albanian border at 2,764 meters is the tallest mountain in Macedonia. Hydrography. In the Republic of Macedonia there are 1,100 large sources of water. The rivers flow into three different basins: the Aegean, the Adriatic and the Black Sea. The Aegean Basin is the largest. It covers 87% of the territory of the Republic, which is 22,075 square kilometers. Vardar, the largest river in this basin, drains 80% of the territory at 20,459 square kilometers. Its valley plays an important part in the economy and the communications system of the country. The project, named the Vardar Valley, is considered to be crucial for the strategic development of the country. The river Black Dran forms the Adriatic Basin, which covers an area of about 3,320 square kilometers, i.e., 13% of the territory. It receives water from Lakes Prespa and Ohrid. The Black Sea Basin is the smallest with only 37 square kilometers. It covers the northern side of Mount Skopska Gora. This is the source of the river Binichka Mirava, which joins the Mirava, and later, the Danube, which flows into the Black Sea. Macedonia has around 50 ponds and 3 natural lakes: Lake Ohrid, Lake Prespa, and Lake Dojran. In Macedonia there are 9 spa towns and resorts: Banista, Banja Bansko, Istobanja, Katlanovo, Kezovica, Kosovrasta, Banja Kokani, Kumanovski Banja and Negorci. Climate. Macedonia has a transitional climate from Mediterranean to continental. The summers are hot and dry, and the winters are moderately cold. Average annual precipitation varies from 1,700 mm in the western mountainous area to 500 mm in the eastern area. There are three main climatic zones in the country: temperate, Mediterranean, mountainous, and mildly continental. Along the valleys of the Vardar and Strumica rivers, in the regions of Gevgelija, Valandovo, Dočan, Strumica, and Radavis, the climate is temperate Mediterranean. The warmest regions are Dimykarpia and Gevgelija, where the temperature in July and August frequently exceeds 40 degrees Celsius. The mountainous climate is present in the mountainous regions of the country, and it is characterized by long and snowy winters and short and cold summers. The spring is colder than the fall. The majority of Macedonia has a moderate continental climate with warm and dry summers and relatively cold and wet winters. There are 30 main and regular weather stations in the country. National parks. The country has 3 national parks. Flora. The flora of Republic of Macedonia is represented by around 210 families, 920 genera, and around 3,700 plant species. The most abundant group are the flowering plants with around 3,200 species, which is followed by mosses and ferns. Phytogeographically, Macedonia belongs to the Illyrian province of the circumboreal region within the Boreal Kingdom. According to the Worldwide Fund for Nature and the Digital Map of European Ecological Regions by the European Environment Agency, the territory of the Republic can be subdivided into 4 ecoregions: the Pindus Mountains mixed forests, Balkan mixed forests, Rhodopes mixed forests, and Aegean Sclerophyllus mixed forests. National Park of Pelista in Bitola is known for the presence of the endemic Macedonian pine, as well as some 88 species of plants representing almost 30% of Macedonian dendroflora. The Macedonian pine forests on Pelista are divided into 2 communities: pine forests with ferns and pine forests with junipers. The Macedonian pine, as of specific conifer species, is a relict of tertiary flora, and the 5-needle pine mollica was first noted on Pelista in 1893. Macedonia's limited forest growth also includes Macedonian oaks, the sycamore, weeping willows, white willows, alders, poplars, elms, and the common ash. Near the rich pastures on Zar Mountain and Bistra, Mavrovo is another plant species characteristic of plant life in Macedonia: the poppy. The quality of thick poppy juice is measured worldwide by morphine units, while Chinese opium contains 8 such units and is considered to be of high quality. Indian opium contains 7 units, and Turkish opium only 6. Macedonian opium contains a full 14 morphine units and is one of the best quality opiums in the world. Fauna. The fauna of Macedonian forests is abundant and includes bears, wild boars, wolves, foxes, squirrels, chamois, and deer. The lynx is found, although very rarely, in the mountains of western Macedonia, while deer can be found in the region of Dimykarpia. Forest birds include the blackcap, the grouse, the black grouse, the imperial eagle, and the forest owl. The 3 artificial lakes of the country represent a separate fauna zone, an indication of long-lasting territorial and temporal isolation. The fauna of Lake Ohrid is a relict of an earlier era, and the lake is widely known for its Letnica trout, lake whitefish, gudgeon, roach, podust, and pior, as well as for certain species of snails virginus older than 30 million years. Similar species can only be found in Lake Baikal. Lake Ohrid is also noted in zoology texts for the European eel and its baffling reproductive cycle. It comes to Lake Ohrid from the distant Sargasso Sea, thousands of kilometers away, and lurks in the depths of the lake for 10 years. When sexually mature, the eel is driven by unexplained instincts in the autumn to set off back to its point of birth. There it spawns and dies, leaving its offspring to seek out Lake Ohrid to begin the cycle anew. Domestic animals. The shepherd dog of Sar Mountain is known worldwide as Sar Plananek. It stands some 60 centimeters tall and is a brave and fierce fighter that may be called upon to fight bears or wolf packs in guarding and defending flocks. The Sar Plananek originates from the shepherd's dog of the ancient Epirots, the Molossus, but the Sar Plananek was recognized as its own breed in 1939 under the name of Illyrian Shepherd, and since 1956 has been known as Sar Plananek.